Oh my gosh, you guys. I just got done editing a video I was gonna put out, talking about the Pump Act, how this was kind of our last hurrah, our last ditch effort to get it passed before, the holiday, and they passed it. I just found out, and I'm so excited and I'm so happy. I'm gonna go ahead and put the rest of the video, that I filmed after this. It'll tell you more about it. But I'm just so happy. I want to read this to you guys. It's so exciting. And maybe I'm a big baby for reacting this way, but it's so, so important for families in the US that they're now able to provide for their babies. So many more people, 9 million more families are provided now with time to express milk at work to feed their babies. So this article that I'm reading is from Axios.com. I don't know. Senate passes milestone protections for pregnant workers and new mothers. The Pregnant Workers Fairness Act and the Pump Act for Nursing Mothers Act passed the Senate with bipartisan support on Thursday as amendments to the omnibus spending package. Why it matters. It's a major milestone for women's workplace civil rights. Advocates have pushed for protections for pregnant workers for over a decade, arguing that thousands of women lose their jobs each year, either fired or placed on unpaid leave, because employers are under no obligation to offer pregnant workers reasonable accommodations. Those would include things like extra bathroom breaks, the ability to sit while working a cash register, or restrictions on how much weight they can lift. What they're saying, quote, employers can no longer treat pregnant workers like they are expendable once they find out they're expecting a child or need a modest accommodation to prevent serious health complications, said Dina Bakst, co-founder of A Better Balance, an advocacy group that has led efforts for the past decade to pass the bill, in a statement. Details. Oh, gotta switch arms here. Guys, it's so exciting. Details. The Pregnant Workers Fairness Act passed the House 315-101 in August 2021. After it was introduced in the Senate, it stalled out. Back's group was leading a last push to get it passed in the lame duck. It passed on a 73-24 vote Thursday. The Pump Act, which passed 92-5, guarantees workers the right to break time to express milk, another big issue, particularly for hourly workers who can't always get off the clock to pump. What's next? The amendments are part of the roughly $1.7 trillion long-term government funding bill, which is expected to pass the Senate and head to the House for a quick passage ahead of a Friday deadline. Oh gosh, you guys. That's emotional. I just got done ranting about why this is so important while I'm making sugar cookies. I am so happy. Like, this is the best Christmas present, seriously, to 9 million families and even more pregnant workers who are soon to be having their babies, expanding their families, and now they've got that protection too, to be able to express milk to feed their babies. And this is, oh gosh, I can't even believe it. I'm so excited. Also, I noticed when I was editing the video that I'm wearing the same shirt that I was wearing when I made my first crying reaction video about this. So that's fun. So yay, I'm so excited. I'm gonna go ahead and put my ranting cookie making video after this, and if you want to stick around, it's I don't know, I guess it's fun. So I'm so happy. I hope you all have an amazing last couple weeks of the year and a wonderful new year, and I will see you in 2023 unless I think of something to give you before then. All right, bye. Hey everyone, it is 3 days before Christmas, and I am going to be making sugar cookies while I talk to you about the Pump Act. So I already have the dough made. It is the Betty Crocker vegan sugar cookie recipe. It is amazing. The dough has to stay cold though, so that will go back in the fridge after I get about half of the dough out. So the Pump Act, we've talked about before. My most popular video, actually, most watched, was this summer when Senate failed to pass the Pump Act. So the Pump Act would give break time, pumping time, to more people than the Break Time for Nursing Mothers Act currently gives. It would, approximately 9 million more people would be able to pump at work. So this summer when it did not pass, it was because of objections from the railroad industry. One senator raised objections about it, stating that it would be bad for railroad industry, so it did not pass. So they've been working to try to find an agreement, something that would work for all these different types of employers. So the most recent objection was raised by airlines, saying it would be difficult to accommodate pump time because flight attendants need to be seated and buckled in during takeoff and landing and those types of things, and how it would be difficult to provide a private nursing space on, or pumping space on, an airplane. And I can understand that concern, but they have since made exceptions, not exceptions, kind of concessions with the airline industry. So hopefully Congress will pass this amendment of the bill before they go on break for winter, for the holiday, and that would be amazing. That would be fantastic for so many families. I mean, when it's already been hard enough the past several years to get lactation help, to get formula to feed babies who need supplemented or are just being formula fed. Like, why is the government continuing to make it difficult for families to feed their babies? It is so frustrating. So apparently if it does not pass before the winter break, it has to start all over, like, from the beginning next year, which is nonsense. There's been so much work already put into it. Like, why can't we just help families? I don't understand. So the U.S. Chamber of Commerce wrote a letter recommending that they pass it, and I will read that to you if I can get my phone over here without making a total gigantic mess and getting it all floury. That way you guys can know exactly what I'm talking about if I'm not explaining it correctly, because I am cutting out cookies. The letter from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce reads, "To the members of the United States Congress, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce strongly supports the negotiated compromise version of the Providing Urgent Maternal Protection Pump for Nursing Mothers Act and urges Congress to approve this legislation before the session concludes. This important bill represents a balanced approach to providing more support for nursing mothers in the workplace. This legislation would update the Break Time for Nursing Mothers Act, which became law in 2010. That law amended the Fair Labor Standards Act, FLSA, to require employers with more than 50 employees to provide a space for mothers to either nurse or, more likely, to express breast milk. It also requires employers to to provide reasonable breaks for workers to nurse because the legislation amended the FLSA's overtime provision. It does not cover workers exempt from overtime. It also lacks an enforcement mechanism. So this is about the Break Time for Nursing Mothers Act. This is not about the Pump Act. This is why the Pump Act is being introduced, so more people can be protected in their rights to express milk at work. The Pump Act would expand coverage to those workers currently exempt and would provide workers with a remedy if employers fail to provide accommodation or reasonable breaks. The bill would improve upon the current law in several key areas. And now we've got some bullet points. And I will link this below if you guys want to see it yourselves. Employers would be allowed 10 days to improve space allocated for nursing mothers before employees could proceed with seeking relief from the courts. This provision would assure that more employees can get the accommodations they need in a timely manner rather than triggering a drawn-out, costly, and uncertain litigation process. Sounds good to me. The bill protects small businesses by not applying to employers with less than 50 employees where compliance would present an undue hardship. The bill addresses concerns from the airline and railroad industries about difficulties these companies would have had complying. The Pump Act is a win-win for nursing mothers and the businesses that employ them. Employers would get clarity and a way to avoid litigation, and nursing mothers would be able to remain in the workforce. The Chamber is pleased to strongly support this legislation. Sincerely, Neil L. Bradley. So, if it's not passed, I really, truly do not understand why. I don't understand the hang-up. I mean, it's not going to be harmful for anyone. Isn't feeding babies more important than, like, having 45 extra minutes a day from your workers? I mean, you provide smoke breaks. Lots of places provide smoke breaks that aren't docked pay for their employees. I think that expressing milk is much more important, especially because it's literally a health issue, both for the nursing parent and for the baby. Oh, I let this sit too long. Oh no. Snowman. I didn't even preheat the oven. This is what happens when I try to do too many things at once. If you don't remove milk on a regular basis, you are at risk for clogged ducts, mastitis, and risking your milk supply just drying up. And then what are you going to feed your baby? You know, not only will you be in pain from not being able to pump enough, but you're also going to then be having to pay for lactation support. I mean, which people should have anyway. I'm just gonna have to re-roll this. You're gonna have to pay for formula then because your baby doesn't have enough milk to drink. So it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous to not support it. And hopefully they do it within the next 2 days. Well, today and tomorrow. We'll see, I suppose. I gotta re-roll this because I spent way too much time talking and not enough time moving cookies. Let's try that again. And the oven will probably be preheated by the time I am done cutting these out. Hopefully. Go fast, go fast. So, hopefully, it passes. Like I said, this was my video on the Pump Act was my most viewed video ever, still ever. and with more than 8,000 views. And I mean, that might seem like a lot to some of you, but for me, like, I have a tiny itty bitty channel with right now 98 subscribers, which I think is amazing. Like, my Christmas wish would be to get to 100 subscribers. And that might seem silly, but hey, gotta start somewhere. So yeah, that's something that I am stressing about, but also hopeful for a Christmas miracle, a holiday just past winter solstice miracle, that we can get some protection there, some greater expanded access for the people who need it, for the people who have been looked over, for teachers, other salaried employees. You know, they have to feed their babies too. And I'm not quite so up to date on the formula issues. I know that the Abbott plant had another setback several months ago now, though, so I'm hoping that they are up and running. But I know some people are still having a hard time finding formula for their babies, and you know, it's been a rough year. So this would be a good way to end the year, start 2023 on a bright note. That would be fantastic. So we shall see. What else? What else, you guys? I have been subcontracting with another lactation consultant, and that way I can, through her business, I can start taking people who have insurance, because in my personal business right now, my private practice, I do not take insurance. I don't think that it's right that IBCLCs are not covered by Medicaid here, unless they have some other kind of certification or, you know, other health degree, like a doctor or a dentist or a dietitian, because IBCLCs who are just IBCLCs, like, that's what we're in it for. Like, we're not tacking on this certification just to say that, you know, we have it. We are doing it because it's what we're passionate about, and that's our only job. So that's why for my personal business, I'm not doing that. But this other lactation consultant I'm working with, that I'm contracting with, she needed help with growing her business. She can't keep up, and we can help so many more families if there's, you know, more than just a couple of us. And, you know, a lot of her clients do have insurance, and so it's kind of a win-win-win. I'm still seeing my private practice clients for my business that, you know, are self-pay, and I'm keeping my costs, their costs, low, so it's affordable, so I can really help everyone. Because that's really my belief, is that everyone deserves care. Everyone deserves good care from a competent provider. So that's where I'm at with that. I'm gonna have to wash this cup because I just got cookie dough on it. That was probably too much flour. Oh well, we're doing it anyway. This is the second batch of sugar cookies I've had to make, because I made them with the kids the other day, like just earlier this week, and and they're mostly gone already. Like, they're really good, but if they're gone, how are we supposed to give them as Christmas gifts? Or leave any for Santa? So here I am making more while the kids are out of the house because it's just much faster and they can help decorate when they get home. Oh, crap. What is even going on here? I am having an off day. Having an off day. Let's just smash it back together. That's fine. That's probably fine. Alright, let's do lots of Christmas trees here. Just make them fit. Gotta get it in the oven. So half of these cookies are going to be nice and fluffy because the dough is still chilled. The other half are going to be like flat little crackers because they got warm. Oh well. Flat little crackers still taste good when you put frosting on them. Oh, those are too close. Too close. Scoot over. Scoot over. Alright, I think that is probably all we can fit on that tray. Let's see, how long? 7 to 8 minutes. So I'm doing this because I wanted to make this video, but I had lots of stuff to do and I was down to the wire. Did not have time to do it yesterday because I was wrapping presents and then getting caught up in British television because, guys, did you know that BritBox is a thing? British television, you know, it's fun. Started watching Dickensian because as a bad English major, the only Charles Dickens novel I ever read was A Christmas Carol. And my current love of Joseph Quinn had me start Dickensian. And it's like a prequel to all of these famous Dickens novels for these characters, kind of showing their backstory or an imagining of their backstory. And it was very, very good. So, of course, I had to go start watching like Great Expectations and Bleak House so that I knew what happened to these characters. And I like it. I preferred that I didn't ever read the books because now I'm surprised. I'm surprised with everything that's happening. You know, had no idea how these stories went. So is anyone else out there a bad English major and didn't read any of the classics? Or only limited classics? Also, people in the UK, is Charles Dickens required reading in school? Like, a lot of our US authors, American authors, particularly early American authors, are required reading. But I just didn't know if Dickens is required. I imagine it probably is. I don't know. I don't know how things work. So I will also link the Congress page about the bill. And there is a spot on here at the top of the page to contact your representatives, give feedback on this bill, contact your member of Congress to let them know, Senate, because it has already passed the House. So the next step is it needs to pass in the Senate. And then it goes on to the president, and then it would become law. So contact your people. Contact your people. Get out there. Urge them. Please, please, please. Do one good thing before Christmas. La 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 la. I am melting. Guys, I just went to Aldi's and it is wild out there. Like, we're supposed to have a big snowstorm. I know most of the country is supposed to get really low temps, and especially weird for southern areas of the US that tend to stay rather warm through the winter. Like, this is unusual. I don't know that we're going to get a big snowstorm. I live in the snow belt and used to getting large amounts of snow, like measuring snow by feet in a single snowfall. But the past several years, it's not been like that too much. It's only like every couple years we'll get one or two big snows like that. Like last year we got a ridiculous amount of snow all in one weekend, and it was pretty wild. Like, we have a big tall dog, Buster, and like he was leaping through the snow like a deer, because it was like up to his chest. So it was wild. I was just getting like a couple extra little things because, I mean, I like Aldi's. Why not? So it's time to take those cookies out. Oh, they're beautiful. Beautiful. Put a little tray in. These awesome trays are from Aldi's, actually. The massive cookie tray is, honestly, that's why I bought it. But it came with the massive one, the little kind of medium-sized one that I just put in, and two little itty-bitty ones, but I think those ones are in the dishwasher right now. Because I used those last time because I couldn't find the medium-sized one when I really could have been using all of them, because, you know, this recipe makes a lot of cookies, and it's great. It's delicious. You would never ever know that it's vegan. From the lovely Betty Crocker. If you just Google Betty Crocker vegan sugar cookies, it'll come up. But it's very, very good. And as long as you keep the dough cold and you're pretty fast, they come out nice and fluffy. Like, a couple of these are probably going to be a little crackery, but a lot of them are nice and fluffy still. Like my cookie spatula there. So cute. Throwing them. Look at that cute little star. Oh, it's very hot, burning my hands. This gingerbread man kind of looks like Gumby. Look at his crooked head. So I got my other little round cookie cutter out. I believe they're actually biscuit cutters. They were my grandmother's. So I'm gonna use those. Get some round ones in there. Got a nice tray all ready to go. Now I'm gonna try to go real fast and maybe time lapse this for you guys, so it's not just me mumbling a whole lot while I do this. It's almost, that's the last of it right there. If I can scrape any more out of here. Yeah. Guys, I don't think I would ever be able to have a cooking show, because, like, as much as I like to bake, hey, like, struggling with this. See, that's how you know the dough is nice and chilled, is that it, like, sticks on there and pops out. What are you guys' favorite Christmas cookie recipes, or holiday cookies, or holiday desserts, whatever holidays you celebrate? Or even if you don't celebrate any holidays, what are your favorite desserts? Share recipes. Share recipes, please. And if they're vegan, even more bonus points for you. Beautiful. Ooh, that's hot. Hot, hot, hot. I also could never be a professional baker, because as fun as it is for me, I am just not good at making things perfect because I am trying to not do things perfectly, not focus on perfection and just focusing on function and getting things actually accomplished. I'm a recovering perfectionist because I find that it's an ADHD thing. For me at least, that is one of those things that contributes to my executive dysfunction, is that perfectionism, that feeling like I have to do these things in this perfect certain way, and if I can't manage to do those things in that perfect certain way, then it's not worth doing it at all. And I am learning and having to remind myself over and over again that anything worth doing is worth doing poorly, because then at least it gets done. Whereas focusing on trying to do everything perfect or right, then it doesn't get done. Like, what's the point then? What's the point on focusing on doing something perfectly if you're not going to do it at all? And it really takes the pressure off that good enough is good enough, especially around the holidays, especially when it comes to keeping your house and other care tasks. Struggle care has really, really helped me kind of reframe how I think about these things. Like, I deserve to have a home that functions for me and my family, and so there are no rules. Like, there's no certain way you're supposed to do laundry or supposed to do your dishes. That's made up. And if it doesn't work for you, then why continue to do it? So hopefully that's helpful for some of you. I mean, the Struggle Care podcast is on Audible. The book How to Keep House While Drowning is on there also, and it's amazing. So definitely check those out. I feel like they can be helpful for everyone. But especially if you have any kind of neurodivergence and you struggle with these types of care tasks, keeping up with laundry and dishes and just managing those types of things that it seems like everyone is able to manage without any issues. You're not alone, and these things are things that can help you, and I hope that you take advantage of them, you seek them out. And I know this is probably not what you were expecting to hear on a lactation video, but I mean, especially parents with new babies, they are so hard on themselves postpartum, expecting that you'll just be able to do everything that you were able to do before. And it's just not true. It's hard. Postpartum is hard. And even if your birth goes perfect, exactly how you wanted it, and you have so much support, it's still hard. Physically, emotionally, it's a hard time. So I hope that you can give yourself some grace and learn from these things, these resources that I'm sharing, and go into the new year with a new perspective on care tasks and your worth. Because getting done all your dishes, getting done with all your laundry, having a sparkling clean house, that doesn't make you a good person, and it doesn't mean that you're a bad person if you don't have those things. Like, I have cereal and some gourds on my counter right now. And it might be embarrassing to some people to have that kind of background, like some dishes in my sink behind me. But it doesn't really matter. None of those things matter. What matters is taking care of yourself, your mental health, your family, and having a home that functions for you and takes care of you. So that's my little lecture on that. And I'm gonna pop the rest of these cookies in the oven and let you guys go and have a wonderful winter holiday season. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks very much. Bye.